We respectfully acknowledge that Dakota County Library and its 9 locations are located on the traditional and ancestral lands of Indigenous people. Dakota County resides on land that was inhabited by the Wapakute and Midwakatoan Dakota people and other Native nations from time immemorial. Seated in a land treaty signed in July of 1851, this land holds great historical, spiritual, and personal significance for its original stewards, the Native nations and peoples of this region. We also want to respectfully acknowledge that Dakota County Library is the namesake of the Dakota people. By offering this acknowledgement, we work towards our value of acting inclusively and our mission of learning, and recognize our collective responsibility to engage our community in the history of the lands of Indigenous people.
Hello everyone, my name is Raheem Simmons, and I would like to take this time to thank Dakota County Library as well as MELSA for allowing me to come to you today. As we travel down this journey, I want us to strap on our seatbelts and enjoy the ride. I'm going to take us down memory lane for a second or two and talk about the summer of 1968. What was happening in the summer of 1968? Let me just bring back to our remembrance, or just put you on to some understanding in our history in this country. 1968, you had protesters marching against the war in Vietnam. Then you also have people and protesters and looters going crazy over the assassination of Martin Luther King. Our country was going through a lot at one time, similar to what we see today. However, there was another assembly of gladiators and soldiers getting together. It was in the city of Chicago. Special people get together with special talents and abilities gather in Chicago to put on display for all to see. We call this the Special Olympics, the start of it. We had students and athletes come together to say, hey, I'm here as well. You know, in Rome, the gladiators say, let me win. But if I can't win, let me be brave enough in my attempt. And when we asked these athletes to do, they came together and said, hey, put on display whatever you can do. Whether they were winning or coming up in the second or third place, they gave it all they had. They were brave enough to stand out in front of all the other people and say, hey, this is what I can do. They put on their special talents. You know, I sit here and I think about cake. I love cake. And when you look at the box, you see this big, beautiful piece of cake that you want to embrace and eat. You have all the different ingredients. And as an athlete, I look at sports the same way as I look at a cake. You have the milk, you have the eggs, you have the sugar, you have the flour, you have all the different things that come in there. But if we only look at our athletes as those who are the all-state Division I, the ones who are on TV, we're missing out on the salt, we're missing out on the butter, we're missing out on so many other things that are out there that we need to fully embrace and accept and enjoy this thing that we're calling cake and or this thing we're calling sports. When we look at it, these athletes that we were talking about that gathered in '68 in Chicago, many have mental or physical disabilities, but yet those same individuals had the same passion and drive and desire as the people that we glorify. They are brave enough in their attempt. Many people look down upon them. Maybe people turn away and say, you shouldn't do it, you shouldn't enjoy this, you can't do it because you're physically unable. Yet those same people said, no matter what, I'm a gladiator just like you are. I see something, I have a passion, I have a burning desire to be good. And these athletes, they go for what's in their heart. Remember, in the time in which 1968, we were talking about many students and children that had mental or physical disabilities, they were pushed aside, hid away, looked down upon. But then we meet a Loretta Claiborne. Loretta couldn't walk or talk until she was 4 years old. But her mother never gave up on her. Her mother never allowed her to dream. Her mother never told her that because of these disabilities, you can't do what you have the fire and desire to do. Loretta is one of the most decorated Special Olympians that we've ever had. And again, she couldn't walk or talk until she was 4. She couldn't run in a straight line. But again, we celebrate Loretta today. Just like we do with the athletes that are going all up to college and having these big old recruiting battles, we celebrate them, we highlight them, we praise them. What about the Loretta Claibornes of the world who have that same fire and desire? But unfortunately, she was born with the fact that she couldn't necessarily control. Are we willing to celebrate? Are we willing to praise? Are we ready to go in there and be their biggest cheerleaders like we are with the other supposed great athletes? As a high school coach, as a high school educator for the last 17 years, of course I would get my schedule and I would look at when we play, study the opponents, and then I would love to just push my athletes to be the best they can be so they can also help us win this conference or potentially go to state, potentially make all Metro first or second team or honorable mention. That was our desire from the beginning. And then one day, our game was canceled due to the weather. However, our adaptive sports teams were not canceled. So as a competitor and someone that wanted to support our students, I went to the game, floor hockey. And that changed my life forever. They had on their jerseys, they had their cheers, they were so excited. Some could barely run up the court with the puck, but they gave it all they had. They went after it with their passion and desire. And it changed my whole heart. Because, yes, we look at these great athletes, but some of the greatest athletes are playing the adaptive sports at 4:30. When we go and we sit there and we watch, they had every reason to make all the excuses in the world why they couldn't perform, why they couldn't do it. Yet you never heard them complain. They never threw up their hand, they never threw in the towel, they never said it was too much for me. They said, I'm a gladiator. I want to win. But if I can't win, I'm going to be brave enough to give it an attempt. Changed me forever. As a coach here in Minnesota, I'm so happy and I'm so excited because Minnesota was the first state to sanction through the high school league 4 adaptive sports leagues across the country. So not only have we been performing and having these Summer Olympics and all this stuff for our Special Olympics, Minnesota's #1 to say, hey, we're going to allow those athletes in high schools to function, to have a real schedule, to play in the league just like the rest of our other athletes. And I'm proud of that. In our adaptive leagues, we have soccer, we have floor hockey, we have softball, and some of the greatest athletes I see are playing adaptive bowling. When we look at it, we talk about our community, we talk about our schools, we talk about our school spirit. Is that real, or is that limited to certain people? Because some of the toughest people, some of the toughest athletes, some of the greatest athletes are those who we don't see perform. I challenge all of us to continue to build our community, continue to expand and embrace all, and say, hey, we're all a part of this school. We're all the athletes of this school. This is our community, this is who we represent. And show up. Show up and show the students, the athletes, we're here for you just like we're here for the rest of the students and the athletes. Think about the power and the spirit that can bring together to uplift everything that's going on in our world today. Remember, it was in 1968 that we started this in Chicago with the protesters about the war in Vietnam, the assassination of Martin Luther King, and we had a group of people. So we're going to bring in everything that's going on, we're going to bring in our talents as well. So we're going to do it. We're going to change. We're going to say, hey, we know what's going on, but let's all rally together. Every single day, there's some kind of competition going on across this world. There's over 5 million athletes performing and being involved in these Olympics every year. Over 172 different countries bring their athletes. You notice I never said they're special athletes. They're no more special, they're no less than the athletes that we consider the great ones, because they are great as well. So, what I would love to do, I love to just sit here as I reflect on everything we've talked about today. I just want to give a huge, major shout out to the Special Olympics, the originators, that come up with the idea to bring people together. And by doing so, through the midst of war, turmoil all across the world, we still have our athletes gathering from countries all over the world together to compete, to bring these athletes together to compete, to show each other love and support. And by doing so, we have Summer Olympics, we have the Winter Olympics, whether they're they're swimming, they're participating now in golf, and then they're doing Nordic and speed skating, they're doing floor hockey, and this is all over the world. We're bringing these people in together and showing them and believing in them and letting them know, here's your platform, here's your space to do, and they represent who you are, your country, and show the world your passion and desire for the sport that you've gotten involved with. So as we look and we think about this here, and we think about our athletes and our youth and our community, we should be mindful of the fact that it is only not too long ago that someone had a desire to say, hey, let's support our people, all our people. Just like we talked about our cake, all of our athletes. No piece, no ingredients one is bigger or better than the other piece. So let's continue to support our Olympians, our champions, our gladiators, even if they're given a disability or have a disability. If it's our neighbor, if it's our son, if our cousin, our aunt, or whatever, let's show them the same support that we would want them to support us with. The same support that we give our popular athletes in sports. Let's make sure we do the same for the adaptive sports. Because who knows? Maybe that's the motivation we need. Like I said earlier, competitions are happening every day around the world. And maybe all they need is to know that they have a cheerleader in their corner that believe in them as well. Because again, all of us are champions. Sometimes it takes someone to just give it a little nudge and say, hey, you can do it. We highlight and we celebrate all these great athletes, all these famous people who we think are so phenomenal. But the true champions, in my opinion, are those in our backyard that we kind of overlook. Let's bring the community together. Let's bring our athletes together. Let's bring our world together. And let's support one another. I sit here and I think, when I think about these athletes that we were talking about earlier today, I just get so excited. Why? Because again, when we get to the point where they're in these Olympics and a part of the Special Olympics, these aren't just people we're feeling sorry for. These are the greatest athletes in the world competing. All over the world, 170 plus countries of the greatest athletes that have shown dedication, commitment. They've given their time, they've given their effort, their energy, sweat and tears. They've devoted themselves. Their coaches have provided hours and hours and hours of support. And then they get their opportunity to put that on display. So my children and I, we sit down and we look at it, we talk about it, we hear the stories. They're not just hearing the stories of the Michael Jordans of the world. They're hearing about the Loretta Claibornes of the world who who couldn't walk or talk, that many people would have given up on. But these people have inspired us to say, hey, let's get out of our own comfort zone and let's grow to another level. We're not asking for sympathy and someone to feel sorry for them. We want you to embrace their character, their spirit, their drive, their motivation, their desire and commitment. And when we see it all together, we're talking about inclusion of all people. That's all we hear about today. Let's do it. Let's take from their drive, their spirit, and let's embrace it in ours as well. Because if we're willing to do it, we'll be able to celebrate athletes every day, all day of our lives. But before we celebrate the athletes, we celebrate the heart and the soul of that person. We're no different than the rest. We talked about cake. Let's bring it all together, embrace us all together, and make it one big, happy, unified country and people. That's my desire today. That's what I would love to see. So again, let's open our hearts, minds, souls, and spirits to learn a little bit more about it, to learn more about our athletes in our communities. If we allow or have some time to support, let's do it. Because again, that we all can learn from one another. Iron sharpeneth iron. Let's get together and let's grow. Thank you very much. Have a good day.